Good morning, all of you. Today, we are going to discuss about the risk and uncertainty. This particular topic coming under Unit 4, Block 1. In this particular class, we are going to discuss about different types of risk. Not only that, we are going to compare two concepts. One is risk, another one is uncertainty. When we want to know more about manager economics, because this particular subject related with the decision making, that too in a uncertain period, that is, we are going to take a decision for a future period which is uncertain. So this particular topic is very important. So kindly listen carefully. The objective of this particular topic is to understand two different concepts, risk and uncertainty, and we are going to list out various types of risk, and we are going to identify the difference between risk and uncertainty. The purpose of studying management economics is to take a right decision in a business practice in order to achieve the organizational goal. But all the business decisions are taken under uncertain situation. So there is a risk. So we should know about the concept risk. Risk refers to the variability or outcomes which are measurable in an empirical or quantitative manner. This phenomenon can be incorporated into business outcome in the form of high revenue or higher costs. It does not alter the decision making from those conditions of equilibrium already outlined by the firm. This is one side. The other side is the uncertainty. This uncertainty denotes an imperfect knowledge of future, or rather the knowledge of future is less perfect, in a sense that the parameter of the probability of distribution, that is, what will be the future price, what is the actual yield that we can go into, what will be the output. So many statistical tools like variance, dispersion, central tendency, all these things can be used in order to project that particular thing. But actually, it is uncertain. We don't have a perfect knowledge about what will be tomorrow or day after. So that is why this particular concept gains its importance. Uncertainty is a situation regarding a variable in which neither its probability distribution nor its mode of occurrence is known. For instance, an oligopolistic may be uncertain with respect to market strategy of his own competitors. We may define in this way. Uncertainty is an extreme common in economic activity. Why? Because a manager is taking some risk for the uncertain future. So the function of entrepreneur is to meet those risks, and risk is insurable, but uncertainty is not insurable. It is non-insurable. So that is why we used to call it as uncertain. Before making the difference between the risk and uncertainty, first we will list out what are the different types of risk that we come across while doing the business. The risk can be classified into various types depending upon the different situation. The risk may be economic risk, or it may be business risk. Sometimes it is called market risk, inflation risk, interest rate risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, cultural risk, and so on. Let me discuss one by one. First, we will see about economic risk. Economic risk is a chance of loss because all possible outcomes and their probability of happening is unknown. action taken in such a decision environment are purely speculative, such as the buy or sell decision made by the traders, or any other decision related to commodity, about futures or options. All these things is based on the speculation only. This is coming under economic risk. Either you can gain a profit or you will incur a loss. It's an economic risk. So anything dealing with the future option, or you are dealing with the commodity market, means you are under economic risk. The second type is business risk. The business risk is a chance of loss associated with the given managerial decision. Such losses are normal byproduct, which has unpredictable variation in the demand of the product, or there may be changes in the cost condition. Because of that, business risk will arise. The business risk must be dealt with the right manner, failing which you will end up in loss. It is seldom can be eliminated. Better not to take a business risk. Economic risk we can take, but business risk we should not take, because the cost may change, the demand for the product may change. Based on that, you have to wait and understand the situation. After that only you should take this particular risk, failing which you will be thrown out from the market. Once we talk about when we talk about the market, there is one risk related with the market. It is called market risk. This market risk is a chance that a portfolio of investment can lose money because of overall swing in the financial market, because it is not in our hands. Financial market, day to day, it will change. The manager must be concerned about the market risk because it influences the cost and timing of sale of new debt and equity securities to the investors. So as a manager, he must be aware of the current situation of the market, failing which he will end up in a loss. The fourth risk is inflation risk. This particular risk is very dangerous because there is a general price increase in a price level, which is undetermined. It is a real economic value in a actual corporate world. This corporate agreement that involved a fixed promise to pay the specific amount over an extended period. Because of inflation, because it is not in the hands of the firm, it is a real economic value in a corporate agreement. When you promise that I will pay this much amount every month to that particular, suppose there is an inflation rate, you have to pay more for that particular thing. So it is very dangerous risk. For example, the rental agreement, lease, or corporate bonds, all these instruments are involved, they provide some inflationary risk. It is quite possible. He who able to handle this particular inflation risk is an effective businessman. The fourth influencing risk is called interest rate risk. It's another type of market risk. Why? Because it severely affects the value of corporate investment and your obligations. This stems from the fact that a fall in the interest rate will increase the value of any contract that involves a fixed promise to pay over an extended time frame. Of course, vice versa. It may be reverse. Suppose there is an increase in interest rate, then you have to pay more. Less means it will be gaining. So how, whether you are investing or you are selling, because of these two, the interest rate is inversely proportional. One more type of risk is there called credit risk. This credit risk is a chance that another party will fail to abide its contractual obligation. Suppose you are selling a particular product on credit, but he failed to pay that amount in a stipulated time. Almost all the companies facing this particular credit. This is the most influencing risk of a business. A number of companies have lost a substantial sum because the other parties were either unable or unwilling to provide the money, or it may be in terms of physical goods like raw materials, rental space, or financing for that particular agreements. So the credit risk not only with the monetary term, non-monetary terms also there. So this particular credit risk is a routine one, and the manager should be aware of the business transaction, and the follow-up of transaction only will reduce the credit risk. Suppose that particular client is unwilling to pay, then it is coming under non-performing debt. You have to consider like that. So this non-performing debt should not be there. Definitely, before transaction, you have that manager should go through the agreement, and we have to minimize the credit risk. Then only the business is considerable one. Otherwise, you will end up in loss. He will incur heavy loss. One more problem of a manager is called liquidity risk. It may be outstanding is more than the liquidity problem will arise. This liquidity risk is a difficulty of selling the corporate assets or investment that are not easily transferable in a favorable price. There are different situations. A typical market condition will always say it is quite possible. But because of the liquidity trap, people find difficult to sell the corporate assets or making an investment. There's another type of risk related with this particular liquidity, expanding the financial derivatives. When there is a reduce in the Sensex, people try to invest more. Why? Because in order to stabilize their business. This financial derivative is a security that derives value from the price movement of some other security. So this liquidity risk may arise at any time. So if you keep more reserve, then the business will be done. So we have to decide how much liquid cash should be with you, and it should be minimum. Then only the credit mechanism will work and you will be successful in your business. Then apart from these type of risk like credit risk, business risk, economic risk, liquidity risk, there are two more risks which is related with the tradition or cultural risk. The cultural risk is it pursues based on the region or the rules and regulation followed in that particular industry. That makes a cultural risk. The product market difference due to distinctive social custom make it difficult to predict which the product might do well in a foreign market. For example, breakfast of cereal is extremely popular, and one must be profitable industry in United States, Canada, and United Kingdom. But the same is not applicable in India, because it is a developed country, it's a developing country. So here the cultural, they will ask idli dosai, not the cereals. Their diet conscious is more in the European side or American side, but Southeast Asian countries, they are not much, because they give importance for the culture or other traditions. So there is a risk based on your product, whether it affected with a particular custom or tradition. Based on that, you should do the business. One more risk is called currency risk. The currency risk refers to probable loss due to change in domestic currency value in terms of expected foreign currency. Suppose when you compare Indian rupee with the other foreign currencies, if there is a change in the currency value, there will be some risk in that particular particular thing. Why? Because we may pay more because the value is reduced. The main drawback of the global business or the currency risk, which result in the multinational corporation wish to eventually rate this particular foreign earning, better go for the indigenous product. They'll come back to the indigenous status. Why? Because this currency risk make them to come to the indigenous business. Many MNCs firms hedge against the currency price swing using financial derivatives in the foreign currency market. This hedging is not only expensive but it can be risky during the volatile market. The global investor also experiences such a risk. So the most dangerous risk is the currency risk, because it is not in the hands of the firm, it is a macroeconomic indicator. That is why he cannot handle. So only time is good for him. It favors, then you will survive. Otherwise, you will be out of market. Apart from these things, one more type of risk is called, it is called a political risk. Normally, the government policy is changing, then there will be one risk. The project will be stopped. The government policy risk, which refers a chance of loss because of domestic and foreign government policies. When government is changed, the policy will also be changed, and they will give you a new set of rules for completing the legal binding. So in this particular way, suppose you have a project with a particular political setup. When the period ends, the political party is changed, the ruling party is changed, that project will not be continued, and they will say it is coming and is gov. So this particular risk is we have to consider. So based on the type of government, you should take this particular risk. Otherwise, better to keep away from this particular risk. So after knowing many types of risk, now let us differentiate two concepts. One is risk, another is uncertainty. There are many differences between the risk and uncertainty. The first one is we are considering the nature, distinction in nature. Professor Knight, he made one clear statement. Uncertainty is an unknown risk, while risk is a measurable uncertainty. Such a beautiful words. I will repeat again. Uncertainty is an unknown risk, while risk is a measurable uncertainty. This is the first difference between the risk and uncertainty based on the nature of the concept. The second one is the probability quantitative measurement. Risk can be quantified, measured by any form, whereas the uncertainty cannot be measured in any form. Uncertain is uncertain. Risk we can quantify. This much risk I am having, either it may be monetary terms or non-monetary terms. We can say this much is the risk, but uncertainty, it's not possible. The third difference about the insurability. There is certain risk that can be fully covered by taking insurance policies, like such as fire insurance, flood insurance, theft, drought, robbery. So all these things we can insure, because it is, we can say this much risk is there. The value of asset is this much. I want to insure this. But in case of uncertainty, it's not possible, because we don't know what is going to happen. So when you say risk, means it is insurable, but in uncertain situation, it is not insurable, because we cannot define what is the actual situation is. The fourth one is the transferability. One form of risk can be transferred into another form. It is applicable in case of risk. But uncertainty, we don't know what is it, then how we can say transfer that particular uncertainty. So as far as the transferability is concerned, the risk is transferable one. Uncertainty is not, cannot be transferred. And now we consider a factor cost. The element of cost is a major factor which involved in a business. So here we are differentiating the risk and uncertainty. Once again, Professor Knight have made one statement. The cost of production includes the cost of risk bearing also. The entrepreneur does not get any profit of risk bearing. On the other hand, it is not included in the cost of production. Then in reality, profit is rewarded to the entrepreneur for bearing the uncertainty only. For risk, it is known what is the possible loss or possible profit, but uncertainty, it is not so. Being a good manager, we have to include uncertainty as one of the factor of production. It should be included in the cost of production. The last one is, it's related with the subjective and objective. Risk is a objective, while uncertainty is subjective. As risk can be measured, but uncertainty cannot be measured or realized. So risk is subjective and uncertainty is objective. So you can expect one section B question in this. Let me summarize this particular topic. First of all, we have defined what is risk and what is uncertainty, and we have listed out different features of risk, and the probability value of risk is ranging between 0 to 1, and what are the different types of risk that we are taking during the business practices, and we have differentiated the risk and uncertainty. These are the things that we have discussed in this class. And keywords, you mention any 7 or 8 type of risk: economic risk, market risk, government risk, inflation risk, currency risk, liquidity risk, cultural risk, credit risk, and so on. You can expect a section C question, different types of risk, and in section B, distinguish between risk and uncertainty. Sometimes they may ask, define the term risk, or mention any 4 types of risk. This is possible, section A questions. With this, I'm completing the class. If you have any doubt, kindly contact me. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you.